Hi, hello. So, is it just me, or do a lot of other Canadians feel like they can't fly a Canadian flag right now? This isn't a Canadian specific topic because I've seen it happen before for other movements, but for this talk, we're just going to focus on the truckers' Freedom Convoy that we had at the start of this year and how now brandishing a Canadian flag in public automatically aligns you with those protesters. This isn't a video specifically about my stance on the convoy, if that's what you're thinking. I will say that the retail world would have shut down if truckers were forced to vaccinate, but protesters' reactions were too extreme in some cases and ruined their own cause. It's one of those situations where even if you're right, you do things very, very wrong. Locally, I experienced a lot of supporters going into stores maskless while mandates were still on as a statement against forced vaccinations, but it was just contradictory in that if you don't want to vaccinate and stay valid, that's a safe enough option, you'd still have to play by the mask wearing and social distancing rules. And the protesters carrying gas cans around Parliament just took it too far. Again, it's that small town syndrome where they're trying to show solidarity, even if they weren't bringing truckers gas by carrying around empty gas cans, not realizing that's a literal threat. A gas can is a weapon. Other countries have problems with acid throwing, you know? Like, it doesn't look good. It comes off as threatening, violent. And the maskless locals going around supporting the movement turned the movement in a lot of people's eyes into a matter of loud ne'er-do-wells. People fucking just running down streets with their horns blaring and waking people up for no fucking reason. And therein lies the problem, because a symbol of the Freedom Convoy movement, outside of toting around gas cans, was simply a matter of flying the Canadian flag. Protesting is important, and it's valid, and all that good stuff, as long as you are doing it appropriately and safely, and I agree that, of all things, this was a matter that would affect the nation. But using the national flag as a signifier that you supported the convoy, in a way, tainted the flag. Because you can't define a country's flag with a single thing, opinion, side of a movement, and that's what they were doing. There was no extra something added to it. Convoy supporters just raised the standard maple leaf flag and called it a day. They didn't, add a truck in there somewhere or something. Here's an example of why just flying the Canadian flag to say that you're a supporter of the convoy doesn't make sense. Let's say you're a liberal and you wave around a Canadian flag. Does that make the Canadian flag a representation of liberalism because those are your values and you happen to be waving them around? No, it doesn't. But that's what they were doing. Does that make sense? The Canadian flag has been hoisted up in unison with a specific set of beliefs now, and in turn it has been imbued with that connotation. There are so many LGBTQIA plus flags out there now that I couldn't name half of them if I saw them. I wouldn't know what they meant. But I think that that's better than using an overarching flag to represent something much more specific. Does the rainbow flag speak for the needs and beliefs of the asexual community? No, it's too broad for that. That's why they have their own flag to better represent their identity. What I'm getting at here is that I think every movement needs its own branding. Incorporate aspects of the original. Hell, just have a Canadian flag with a transport crashing through the maple leaf for all I care. I just want to vocalize that this incident of a movement using the national flag has, for a lot of us, ruined it. Obviously, not forever, but for the next few years, when we look at a vehicle flying a flag, our brains will automatically align them with the Freedom Convoy. And that's not right. A national flag shouldn't project something that specific. And in the end, no one is going to remember the controversy of the Freedom Convoy either. Yes, it will have existed, and I'm not saying it's not important, but a couple decades from now, people that weren't affected by it aren't going to look at the Canadian flag and see that. Because as much as the Freedom Convoy invaded the meaning of the national flag, it's the national flag that will persist and continuously wipe its slate clean into something new. What was the point of this besides talking about the odd phenomenon where anyone flying our national flag right now comes off as a ne'er-do-well? Well, it's that y'all gotta get your own branding on fleek. Branding is everything. Don't cop out and use the Canadian flag for whatever your personal agendas are. Get creative with it, or you won't be remembered after you put your megaphone down. Voices fade, but visuals stick. Also, stop feeling so entitled that you think the national flag means whatever the fuck you personally think. It doesn't work like that. But that was just me and my rants. As always, please take everything that I have to say with a grain of salt and act responsibly. Bye.